So the Pomodoro Technique is a very popular time management method to help you get into the flow. Today I'll be going over some of the best apps to use this technique, but the easiest way to get started is with the clock app. All you need to do is set the timer to 25 minutes for a focus session. This is where you focus on the work you need to do, no distractions. Then after that session, you set a 5-minute timer for your break, where you get up and relax for a bit. Try not to look at your phone at this point, because that will still drain your focus, whereas what you want to do is recharge it. So what's often recommended is to go for a quick walk or a look outside the window. Then, once that break is over, you repeat the cycle 3 more times, then take a longer 30-minute break. And that's it. So of course you can use the clock app as I've just demonstrated here, but there are certain extra features that a Pomodoro app can offer. I've boiled it down to 3 key things that I find most useful. Number 1 is session management. This is where the app tells you which of the 4 Pomodoros you're currently on, as well as automatically switching between focus sessions and breaks. Number 2 is metrics. You want to be able to see your sessions across the day, week, or month, highlighting how much time you've been focusing overall. It would also be great to see what times throughout the day that you've been doing Pomodoros. This can be useful for reflecting and optimizing your work hours. Number 3 is tagging sessions. This is where the app lets you label each session with the kind of work you're doing. For example, reading or studying or coding. By doing this, you can get insights on how much time you're spending on each activity, providing a clear breakdown of how you're spending your time. Now, a lot of other apps out there try to pack in more features like to-do lists and calendars. Personally, I think having a separate system for that kind of stuff is better than trying to cram it all into a single timer app. So let's get started. First on the list is an app called Focus Keeper. I think you'll immediately notice the nice and simple red color scheme, which gives off the same kind of vibe as the original Tomato timer. The app clearly indicates each of your 4 sessions and seamlessly transitions between focus and break sessions. This aligns well with our first criterion, which is session management. Now the report page offers a timeline view, which gives a day-by-day breakdown of your sessions, as well as the overall time you've spent focusing. Finally, we have a task page, where you can tag your sessions. Basically, you put in the type of work you want to be doing. Let's say I put down coding. Then I can go to the report page and see how much time I'm spending on each category. Now, you'll notice an issue. The charts are a premium feature, and on the free version, I can't even set more than 2 categories. So this only really lets you do session tagging if you're willing to pay the subscription of $14 a year. Alright, let's move on to the next app. This one's called Flow. It's super minimal, just a digital timer on the main page. Personally, I do like a visual representation, like a circle bar around it, but this minimal look might be more your style. Going back to our criteria, it shows your current Pomodoro in the little circle here. You can also set it to automatically transition it to break and focus. Next, it offers a really nice timeline view with stats on your session durations. There's also interruptions, which would be the number of times you click on the pause button. Aside from that, there's the column graph views for the week, month, and year, which look quite aesthetic. I think this is definitely the strong point of the app. Unfortunately, there isn't a tagging system here, so it fails our last criterion. Another minor issue I have is that you don't have fine-grained control on the timer. You can set the duration to certain numbers in the settings, but you can't scrub through the timer like you could in Focus Keeper. Next up, we have Emphasis. This one has a clean, white on black aesthetic, but if you want, you can change the primary color in the settings. It's got a good variety here. Unlike our last app, the timer is completely visual. It's a pie chart showing the time you have left. If you find that you often get distracted by the digital time, this might be great for you. Onto our first criterion, the app does indicate your session, but it splits it up into 8 Pomodoros rather than your typical 4. It also toggles between break and focus sessions automatically. Next, if you swipe left, you get to the calendar view. It shows you a monthly view of what days you spent doing Pomodoros, as well as the total time you spent on them. You can also look at any given day, but unfortunately it doesn't show you a timeline of your day, just a breakdown of your different sessions. With that said, it does give you a minimal timeline of the current day at the bottom of the timer page. As you can see here, the time you spent doing Pomodoros is in white. The caveat is that the timeline is only for the 9 to 5 workday, and you can't change that range unless you upgrade. Finally, it does let you tag your sessions, but don't be fooled here. I didn't actually create these tags, they were set by default, and I can't change them or add any more on the free version. I can change the first one though, but one tag isn't very useful. You want to be able to see how you're spending your time across multiple custom tags. So once again, this criterion isn't checked off unless you want to pay for the premium version. Okay, so you might be noticing a trend here. None of the apps we've looked at let you tag sessions for free. Of the many apps that I've tested, I've noticed that tagging just seems to be a premium feature. But the next app is a bit different. It's called Forest. Now, this one isn't a Pomodoro app specifically, but you can use it that way. Right off the bat, the timer looks quite different to what we've seen before. You can set the duration as you usually would, but there's a tree inside. So the idea here is that when you do a timer, you grow a virtual tree. You can then see your trees in your forest here. It's actually quite motivating to see all your hard work represented like this across the day, week, month, and year. Also, if you give up during a session, the tree will die, and that shows up in your forest. So it really encourages you to commit to your sessions. You also get some virtual coins when the timer completes, and you can then spend these to unlock different types of trees. Overall, it presents a fun, gamified approach. But let's look at our criteria for what we need the app to do. Unfortunately, since this isn't a Pomodoro app, it doesn't think in terms of focus sessions and breaks. So each session is independent and there's no automatic switching. Also, you probably don't want to use this app to time your breaks, because that would count as a focus session in your metrics. Overall, it really doesn't do session management. Let's look at the next one. The app shows a great distribution of the time you spend focusing throughout the day. It also gives similar views for the week, month, and year. You'll easily be able to see trends and just understand your work patterns better. Finally, Forest actually allows you to tag sessions for free. You can create unlimited tags and set these as you begin each timer. Then you can see how much time you spent for each tag. You can also see metrics for a specific tag. It's definitely a very powerful tool, and it ticks off our last requirement here. So if you're willing to explore something that's not purpose-built for the Pomodoro Technique, I think this is a great app that rounds out the weaknesses of the others that we've looked at. Overall, choosing the right app is really about understanding your specific needs and preferences. Perhaps you care a lot about the session management, or maybe it's just the tagging that you need. Hopefully I gave you an option that suits you. I'll also leave a link in the description to a comparison chart that I've created on Notion. If you found this useful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos on apps involving productivity, wellness, and just general utility. Alright, take care.